What's going on, everyone? I know it's been a long time. It's been about almost a week since I've been on here. Been busy. I thought it was going to be a football season because I'm a high school football coach. For what it looks like, it's not going to be a fall football season for the fifth time of knowing. It's ridiculous. But anyway, I don't want to get into that right now. That's going to be another video, what have you. I want to talk about um, this is the California State Senate, Scott Wiener, as you can see, of his Wikipedia. I want to talk about this, but before I go any further, please like and subscribe to the channel. And if you want to donate to my platform, it's you can cash at me, $ KYSIM 39. Again, $ KYSIM 39. Okay, let's get to it. We're gonna do a couple videos on Scott Wiener and things of that nature, and we're gonna get to it from there. Video, and then I'm gonna read some articles, and then I'm just gonna let you know, as you can see for yourself, about Scott Wiener. A brief summary on a man. He was born May 11, 1970, as you can see. He is an American politician and a member of the California State Senate, a Democrat, and he represents the 11th Senate District. This is what this guy man is. And you probably heard of him. The last couple of weeks, like about a week or two, a lot of things been going on with him trying to pass laws to literally protect pedophilia, gay men and women. For what I'm going to show you, these couple of videos that I'm going to show you, brief summary, and also I'm going to read some other articles on the man. He actually, real quick, he assumed office on December 5th, 2016. He's actually in the, it says he also served as chair of the San Francisco County Transportation Authority. He actually worked for this, and then San Francisco Board of Supervisors in District A, because, you know, anybody that knows something knows California is, San Francisco is like the number one LBGTQ area, you know. You know that. So California in general, to me, the state is literally effed up. You know, they're trying to normalize a lot of different things. That's the opposite of family, in my opinion. But take a look at this video. We're going to hear, you know, I'm going to comment on the video, and we're going to take it from there. Hold on 1 second. Here you go.
It does. Our first story today is you have actually lawmakers in California who are proposing a bill, an actual bill, that would allow child rapists, if they're LGBTQ, to not have to register as sex offenders. Explain that for us.
I keep saying it. Just when you think California can't get any nuttier, any more ridiculous, somehow they managed to prove you wrong. And so now they've got this legislation. And apparently all the Democrats agree, and even some of the Republicans agree, that if you're a child rapist and you're a homosexual or a transgender or something like that, and there's 10 years or less of age difference, then you shouldn't necessarily have to register on the sex offender registry. So if you're a 24-year-old homosexual raping a 14-year-old boy, we can just leave it up to the nutty California.
Or vice versa. If you're a 24-year-old homosexual female raping a 14-year-old girl. I hate when they just, you know, just put the male thing in there.
California judge to decide whether you really belong in the sex offender registry. And I think it's a good illustration of where the state of California is going.
Well, the scary part about this for me, Alex, is why in the world would you make that discriminatory distinction? So if you happen to be lesbian, bisexual, gay, or transgender, there's a different set of sexual rules for you than if you're homosexual? What would be the I mean, I think I know the answer to this. That's the privileged category, and you boring heterosexual people should be punished. But explain to me what their thinking is to the best of your knowledge.
Yeah, well, as I understand it, they're marketing this actually as a non-discrimination bill because they argue that, hey, a 20-year-old man could theoretically have a relationship with a 17-year-old girl. They might get married, and we wouldn't call that statutory
Or vice versa.
rape. And so why should a 24-year-old homosexual man who rapes a 14-year-old boy be considered a child rapist if the 14-year-old boy consented to it? So it's really very twisted logic, but
That is very twisted logic because a lot of states don't allow that. Women, young women or men or young, I see young boys and I should say young men and young women to get married to adults. Most states don't even allow that. So I don't get that analogy as well. Here we go.
nobody ever accused California lawmakers of being terribly sensible or logical.
Well, you could get in trouble in California if you have a 17-year-old girl and a 24-year-old man. It's probable that California would not prosecute that all the way, but it's still prosecutable, isn't it?
Yes, it is, and it would be up to the discretion of the judge in that case whether they add the person to the sex offender registry. So.
And is there any rhetoric? I mean, they call it non-discrimination. So the implication seems to be that there is a different sexual standards for lesbians, bisexual, gays, and transgender. There seems to be this argument that in that community, the alphabet community, to use the way it's been phrased by Dave Chappelle, the comedian, the alphabet community apparently has greater latitude, or they're more sophisticated, or children who are LGBTQ gay, if they're attracted to adults, we have to give them more leeway to have sex with adults because they're minorities or victims. What if you had to answer
To be on the safe side, sorry for interrupting you guys that's watching it. Real quick, just to let you guys understand, not to be on the safe side. This is happening in California, a very super liberal, leftist, Marxist, globalist, socialist state. It can happen to other super liberal socialist states as well. And this can actually be normalized. Just to let you guys understand this. This is why it's very important to me to let people know how the family dynamic of having a mother and a father in the household is the most important thing that you can do as a human being in this society. Because this is how you protect our children. It's so simple. But people don't want to understand that and realize that because we want to follow everything that's illogical. Everything that's illogical, that's what we want to follow. Hold on.
this one way? What would be your argument?
Yeah, and that's really what they are arguing. They're saying, we used to think sodomy was bad, and so that's reflected in our laws. But now we know sodomy is just totally fine and totally normal and totally healthy. It's practically the same thing as heterosexual intercourse between a married couple. And so we should update our laws to reflect that. Now, it's important to point out that even one of the key Democrats here has rejected this logic and has said that no, there's no way we're going to do this and practically legalize or at least come close to decriminalizing rape between a grown man and a young boy. But this is where they're going with this. And we've talked about on this show before, Duke, they're now trying to normalize pedophilia in California. So, with each day that passes, they knock down more and more barriers, and that's where this is ultimately headed.
Did you hear what he said? They are trying their best to normalize pedophilia in California. I mean, the mainstream media don't tell you that. You literally have to go online. You have to go to YouTube. You got to go somewhere else. The mainstream media ain't gonna tell you none of this shit. They're not gonna tell you what's extremely important, and that's protecting our children. I got most of my Facebook friends and most of my, just social media so-called friends, I should say. No, I don't know more, 90% of them, 80% of them. They don't even want to talk about this. They don't want to talk about the protection of our children. They'd rather talk about protecting grown men and women that don't want protection. They'd rather talk about that.
Yeah, this reminds me of the gay marriage debate of 10, 12 years ago when we were told, no, this is just two male or two females who want to marry. They support monogamy. This is not going to become more about and how dare you suggest that it's a slippery slope, that if we allow two men to marry, that you're going to get polyamory, or that if you get two women to marry, pretty soon you're going to be getting demands for adults to marry children. That would never happen. It's offensive. Here it is. And the argument seems to be, as we said before, that pedophilia is all in the head, right? And that when it comes to people who are already brave enough to be lesbian, bisexual, or transgender, or gay, they have a kind of a greater understanding. They're freer and more open about sex than heterosexual people. So we should give them an entirely separate standard than we do traditional heterosexual people.
All right, that's enough for this. That video. It's ridiculous how they are trying to change so many different things that's unethical. It's ridiculous. And people think this is a game, but it's not. I'm gonna read you an article on this man as well. Hold on a second. This thing keep on coming up. You know how that be. I gotta check shit. Hold on. No. Again, guys, like and subscribe to my channel. Do me that justice. This is an article from last month, about a month now. California state senator introduced a bill pushing LBGTQ equality. Mob came for him. This is what is these people from? Mother Jones. It's a very, very liberal article, but we're gonna still read some of it and everything. Okay. LBGT advocates argue the situation unfairly penalize people who do not engage in penal vagina intercourse, a problem that Senate Wiener's legislation aims to fix. He aims to fix, again, I think for what my knowledge is, I think he's a LBGTQ member as well, for if I didn't already say that. But low-level conservative, they call it low-level conservative blogs have written up misleading, misleading meaning written up truth, actual facts, and accurate stories about the legislation, saying that it would protect pedophilia. Yes, it will, and falsely claims that it would mean 22-year-old found to have sexual contact with 12-year-old would not be placed on the registry, and it won't. This is what that law stated. But they saying it will. I think that they trying to suggest it. The existing law does not quote unquote automatically keep people off the registry. It only allows judges additional discretion in making such decisions, and it does not apply to anyone found to have had sex contact with someone younger than 14. So what, younger than 17? What's going on here? Wiener proposed legislations wouldn't change anything regarding ages, but would allow judges to treat different sexual acts equal. What does that mean? You're going to allow a judge to treat it equal? If it's pedophilia, it's pedophilia, no matter if it's gay or not. Like, this is what I don't get. I don't get that logic. You know, we're going to look at another video, guys. Hold on just 1 second. Here we go. I think it's the USA. Let's go.
They didn't all feel the same. A lot of people were discussing as well, man. Just take a look at these couple of clips.
Very clear. The equity argument that
this woman, Lorena Gonzalez, she's a California State Assembly member, District 80, San Diego, Democrat.
Equality California, others have promoted for this bill, I completely agree with. In fact, I agree with it so much that the amendments that they gave me to take in appropriations, which would have still created a two-tier system, I refuse to take, because it is about equitable solutions. Any sex is sex. I don't care who it's between or what sex act it is. That being said, I cannot, in my mind as a mother, understand how sex between a 24-year-old and a 14-year-old could ever be consensual, how it could ever not be a registerable offense. I don't care what kind of sex it is. I don't care if it's traditional. I don't even, I'm not going to go there. But the bottom line is, when a 24-year-old has sex with a 14-year-old, it is always in an inequitable situation. Most of the time, it's a teacher and student. It might be a Bible study instructor, a coach, and a student. I've had 14-year-olds. I've asked everybody, as this has sat in my committee for 2 years, amend both sides of the bill. Amend the current situation where one sex act between a 24 and a 14-year-old might be considered consensual by a judge, and amend this so we can have equity, because it should be equitable. But we should never give up on this idea that children should be in any way subject to a predator. And that's what it is. I cannot, and I've never heard, and I've challenged everybody, give me a situation where a 24-year-old had sex with a 14-year-old, any kind of sex, and it wasn't predatory. Any example, and I've yet to see it.
Mr. Choi, you are recognized.
Thank you, Speaker, and the members of the
All right,
Assembly.
that's it for that. So this is what what this come out to. This come out to, how you guys doing? They come out to situations where we need to understand that they are trying to normalize things in certain states that is doing the opposite of protecting our children. And you can see it another way. You can see it your way. You can see it my way. You can see it anybody's way. But you need to do the research. You guys need to understand that this is a war. We living in a very, very, age of sex trafficking for the children. These different people that's getting into office, these senators, these senators, and stuff like that have these agendas, such as Scott Wiener. They have all these sorts of agendas that's not helping society be logical, be God, being God, you're putting God first, or anything else. What is helping is, it's normalizing degeneracy. It's normalizing chaos and disorder. It's normalizing, Marxism, socialism, globalism. It's normalizing anything and everything to not have, you live vicariously. You do die well. It's what have you. It's whatever. You guys got to start checking the people that you vote in. I don't give a fuck if you're Democrat, Republican. You're going to have to start voting for people that's actually helping your children, that's actually protecting your children. And this thing that's all over the social media right now with Scott Wiener doing all this protection, he also has something where he's protecting people that literally know that they have HIV, but they're giving it to others. He's also doing that. He's also protecting those people. He's not just protecting pedophiles, and LBGTQ pedophiles. He's also protecting LBGTQ people that's normally understanding that they have HIV and they giving it to other people. This is no conspiracy. This is none of this other stuff. This is plain out facts. You, again, as I said before, you can think whatever you want. You do your own research and look up who your senators are and what they really believe in. What type of mindset do they really have? Again, I'm Republican, Democrats, independents, I don't care what you are. You figure out before you start voting who going to become our president and this and that and the third. Because the most important thing for you to do is vote on, if you're going to vote, is voting on people in your sector locally, your mayors, your governors, your senators, people that quote unquote represent you. So again, protect our children, point blank. Protect our children. Peace.